The purpose of this project is to shed light on the importance and effects fathers play in our lives. The foundation of a father is more important than we could ever think. Children look to their fathers for strength, encouragement, wisdom, guidance, and even correction. Young men look to their fathers for instruction on how to be a man, how to conduct themselves in society, and how to handle their emotions. Fathers are the first-hand example of spirituality or the lack thereof. Oftentimes, not knowing your father can cause identity crisis. At least it did in my case. I believe if I had a chance to get to really know him, I would have made better choices. Now, I'm not blaming him for the choices that I made. I'm just saying we are a direct reflection of the examples that are set before us. So if I had a chance to write a letter to my father today, it would read, "Hey Dad, and now we're talking to William Scipio Jr. What's up, William? How you doing today?
What's going on, Robert?
I just want to talk to you. Have a few questions I want to talk to you about. This is letters to my father, so we're just going to talk to you a little bit, all right?
Okay.
All right. So first question is, what is your definition of a father?
My definition of a father is a person who sets an example, a person who is a role model, who provides for their family, and who takes on problems of their family.
So I have two questions, but the first question is, what does setting an example look like for you?
So for me, I believe that, when you, the way that you live your life is the way how set an example. Just being a true role model, being a good citizen, working, having a good relationship with God, your community, and with your family.
Okay. Now, how do they help take on the problems of the family?
I think sometimes being necessarily not the breadwinner, but the one who can provide for the family, either spiritually, mentally, or physically.
All right, so you answered my question because I was getting ready to ask you, because providing goes a long way other
It
than
does.
just financial. Some people just equate providing as a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's so much more than just a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so, as long as we understand it's more than a paycheck, then we always going to be good, right?
Oh, of course.
Definitely. So what was your relationship like with your father?
It was lonely. My dad made a lot of broken promises. I remember as a kid, my dad used to he used to call, or I don't think they had telephones back in the day, but he communicated with my mom that he would come and pick me up at a certain time. And I remember I used to sit at the window with my bag packed, and every time I saw a car come by, I was like, "Oh, Mom, my dad's here," and then realized the car went past my block. My dad had a good relationship with everybody else but me. I felt like he wanted to, but he was more into the world than he was for me. And so I had to learn how to fend for myself and utilize fatherhood through outside members of my family, either through church or community leaders.
So how did it make you feel when you realized that your father had other relationships with other people except for you?
I think for me, it made me very bitter and very angry. It got me to the point where I despised my father, and I said to myself that I would never be like my father when I had a kid. And when I finally did have a child, I wanted to make a life for my son that my dad didn't give me. And whatever that was, it was just being more present, being more honest, being more available, and giving my son things that I didn't have as a kid.
So what was some of the good times that you actually did have with your father at the time?
So I'm glad you asked that question because I was about to get choked up for a second just even thinking about it. I remember my dad used to take me to the People's Expo, and I remember it was I don't know the artist's name, but she sung Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday, Saturday, and I remember he took me to that event, and it rained, and he took off his shirt and gave it to my little sister to
Wow.
cover her up. And that was the real example that I was told of my dad being a real father. And that changed my trajectory of my dad for just a little bit of time. But that's like the one memory that I have of my dad. And also, my dad used to always come to my grandmother's house, and he used to try to teach me how to draw. I didn't have the patience, but he taught everyone else in my family how to draw. But he taught me how to write poetry, and that's something that, I kind of adapted from my dad.
Do you think that you didn't have the patience to learn from your father because it was your father, or you just didn't have the patience to learn?
I don't think I just had the patience at all. I think I just wanted to be outside with with my friends. And I think being with my dad, it was always a disappointment. So anything that I could avoid that one-on-one time, I think I just would use excuses to be outside.
So let's move to your teenage years. Or during your teenage years, what was your relationship like with your father during your teenage years?
It wasn't there. My dad was in and out of jail majority of my childhood. When I was in high school, my dad wasn't present. I went to a boarding school in Virginia. My dad has never been to any of my high school football games, soccer games, baseball games, track meets, never. My dad had the opportunity to come to my high school graduation. I paid for his bus ticket to come to my school, and he never came. After I graduated, I stayed with my dad for a little while, and I got put out because I wouldn't give them rent.
Wow.
As a freshman in college, they put me out. He threw away all of my high school memories, yearbooks, letter jackets, photos that I've had. All that stuff got trashed.
How did that make you feel?
That was probably the one day that I decided that my dad was dead to me. I felt like I can live my life without my dad because I had so many other examples in my life who subsidized for my dad. But at the end of the day, no matter how tough I could have been, I was still that little boy, that little Billy that wanted his dad a part of my life. So whenever my dad would come back, I would try to figure out ways to try to rebuild that relationship. But my dad is a very interesting guy, and so it just could never get to that point.
Okay. How did your father influence you as a father yourself?
Not to be like him. He gave me that unintentional educational experience where everything that I saw my dad do with me, I knew I didn't want to do that when I became a father. And so I worked hard to make sure that whatever it was, I would never let my son go through the same pain that I did as a kid.
William go to Morehouse right now, right?
Yeah, my son goes to Morehouse now. He's
Awesome.
a sophomore.
Awesome. How old is he?
19.
19. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
man.
you.
That's
Thank you.
amazing. How do you feel having your son in college right now?
It feels good. I believe that, raising a kid is a village. And I have a huge village of friends, family, church members. And I could have not done this alone without, one, God's grace and love that He shared on me, the community that I have, and just being able to navigate through my own trauma as a kid and not project that on my son. So to see my son where he is and doing it by myself is such a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I talk about how proud I am of you all the time, but because you do amazing work. So who is the main influence, male figure in your life?
Whew, that's tough because I have so many. If I, go through just a journey of my life. My pastor, who passed away last year, Dr. Vaughn, was a huge influence on my life. He just gave me the tools of what it was like to be a black male. And then when you think about, a guy named Elder Harris, who took me on in 7th grade all the way through my high school years, and then a guy named Mr. Chick Lord, who was a white billionaire, who adopted me as his own son and gave me life, showed me a different part of the world that I didn't know that a black kid from Sandtown could ever have. Then he committed suicide, and that was that was a hard blow for me, because that was the one guy that I allowed in my life the way that he did, and I felt like he selfishly disconnected himself from me the same way that my dad did. And then, over the years, I met other men, who just poured into me. So I can't just point out one person. I have a village of men who have got me to where I am today.
That's amazing, because it does take a village to grow,
Yeah.
to take it for a man to grow. Can't do it by ourselves.
No, you can't. You definitely can't.
So
You
I
definitely
don't
can't.
care how hard we try, we just cannot do it by
Yeah.
ourselves. So, man, this has been good. It's been good. I got a lot of follow-up questions, but
Okay.
we gonna get to them. We gonna get to them.
Okay.
But this is called Letters to My Father. So if you had to write a letter to your father today, what would it say?
Dear Dad, sitting in the window, hoping and praying that you came when I needed you the most, and you didn't. But I forgive you. The day that I called you when my mom died, you weren't there. And it hurts to know that your own trauma can't allow you to love anybody else but yourself. But I forgive you. Thank you for showing me not to be like you. Thank you for giving me the example of what a real father is. Despite of the memories, the little boy deep inside of me desires to be a part of your life. I wish that you could feel my heart to know that even at 40, I desire to still to be hugged, to be kissed, to tell that I have done a good job. But I don't need you to do that. I love you despite of the relationship that we have. You have taught me a whole greater deal that you have no idea what you taught. Love, Billy. Sorry.
No, that's good stuff, man. William, this has been a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you for being transparent and open. This is awesome. Thank you for your time. And we're gonna thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So now we're about to transition to our roundtable session because we're going to dig a lot deeper. We're going to bring the team together and we're going to get a lot more deeper into this. So we see y'all in a few more minutes.